was the breadwinner of the family, and she would make quite a lot of money, and she would constantly be working to make sure her husband and her kids had everything they wanted. But she always found a way to make time for Richard, so their relationship was pretty good in terms of that. On the last night of Richard's life, kind of giving you a spoiler here, but you know, you get what's gonna happen. On the last night of Richard's life, he was cooking dinner for Stacey's parents. And you know, he was basically taking care of them because they were quite old and needed the attention. He was, you know, cooking dinner for them and Stacey, but him and Stacey made Valentine's Day plans that they would make cards for each other. And that night she asked him if they could switch cards at a park that was quite isolated and not many people went there. So, of course, Richard, being the loyal and, you know, unassuming, not too questioning husband that he was, he didn't ask many questions, and he went for it, and he was like, fine, we could do that. So it was very late at night, and it was very dark, and she told him to meet her at the park, and that she would be a little late to the park because she couldn't get out of work. So they both took separate cars, and they made their journey on the dark, winding road to the park. So Richard actually made it to the park first, but he wasn't actually alone. You see, someone was watching Richard in the shadows. Now you gotta know, this location is very creepy. It was dark, no one was around. Like, the road wasn't even a official proper road. It was like just like a gravel, you know, those rocky cementy roads. Yeah. And 30 minutes later, Stacey arrived to find her husband in the dirt, covered in bullet wounds. Now, whatever could have happened to Stacey's fifth husband? Let me tell you in a little bit. I can't tell you everything. The video is gonna be over in like 10 minutes. Cops arrived basically. Okay. Cops arrived soon after Stacey found Richard's body, and they declared that it couldn't have been a robbery because Richard had valuables in the car, as well as his engagement ring that was still on his hand. He also drove to the park in his $40,000 truck that, if you were a robber, you would definitely take. $40,000. Come on, man. Don't be dumb. It's not a robbery. So they ruled that out. And cops noticed many red flags. You see, Richard is a regular guy who was comfortable enough with the person that he saw to get out of his truck and meet them and then be shot to death. So they thought maybe the murderer is someone who knew Richard. Possibly. We don't know yet. By the time they started searching, the suspect they thought had been long gone because the dirt in this area was soft dirt, and soft dirt, like, if you know, it absorbs the impressions of car tires. So they saw You see, Stacey was a very calculated woman. She liked to have control, and how she controlled people was with the large amounts of money that she had. Like I said, she worked all the time, so she had lots of money. She would buy Juan goodies. Okay, so you see, Juan was a divorced single father, and she was offering him money and buying him goodies, taking him on vacations, buying him a phone, renting him a little apartment, and also letting him live in one of her houses. She controlled him by bribing him, and he became a suspect. So they went to the workplace of Stacey and Juan, and they realized that Juan changed his appearance right the day after the night of the murder, which was kind of suspicious, because he had a beard for a long time before the murder, but suddenly he decided to shave it. Suspicious. But he agreed to be questioned without a lawyer present, and he denied knowing anything about Richard's murder. They do a polygraph test on him, and the results are inconclusive. But he said even though he was divorced, he was still trying to fix things up with his ex-wife. And he didn't care about Stacey that much that he would kill someone to be with her. He just saw her as like a means to an end, because she gave him money to support him and gifts, etc. Juan's wife, his ex-wife, was actually in contact with Stacey as well. She would invite Stacey over for family parties, and Stacey would take her kids to the salon and buy them gifts, etc. But she never knew that Juan and Stacey were having an affair until detectives told her. And this broke her heart. She could have thrown Juan under the bus in this moment, but she still supported him, and she told cops that she was his alibi, and that they were together like the night that Richard died. So if Juan didn't kill Richard, who killed Richard? Now that Juan was cleared completely, Stacey Schoeck seemed really suspicious at this point, and the one piece of evidence that they were running with was that they had the tire track imprints, and they searched high and low for the person who owned the type of tire that belonged to that pattern, and they found the tires were Goodyear tires, but they couldn't arrest every single person who owned Goodyear tires, obviously. So the tires were a dead end for now. So an IT technician from Stacey's office came forward and told investigators that it was his job to basically empty all of the inboxes of the employees, and every once in a while. But when he checked Stacey's email on that day of Richard's murder, her email had been completely wiped for was there the night that Richard was murdered. So they continue to look for more evidence, because this obviously isn't enough to incriminate anybody. They turn to the phone records that were taken from the cell phone towers nearby, and that they find that on the night of Richard's death, Stacey makes a call, and this call is, I always get lost. Sorry, I'm reading off of like a document because I can't memorize these facts. Okay, sorry. Okay. So on the night of Richard's death, Stacey makes a call to a man under the name of Mr. Results, also known as Reggie. Reggie. Stacey made a call to Reggie. After making that call, Mr. Results calls Lenitra, and they think that maybe Reggie called Lenitra after the murder, after that call, was to let her know that he had killed Richard and the deed was done. So, this three-way connection between these people is very suspicious. Like, and this call log turns out to be a honeypot of evidence. They found texts between Lenitra and Stacey that night, and Lenitra texted Stacey, "Might be late to work tomorrow. Happy Valentine's Day," the night of Richard's murder. She texts Stacey this. And cops believe that this text was a code to let Stacey know that Richard was dead. They also found that $10,000 was sent to Reggie's bank account from Stacey. This money trail proved them guilty. So now they had enough evidence to arrest the three, but they had to arrest all of them at once, or else, like, if they arrested, like, let's say Stacey first, then Lenitra would hear about it and she would tell Reggie, and then the two of them would go in hiding. So they had to get all three of them at once in order not to lose two of them. So a huge team of cops go out looking for them and try to arrest them. And, sorry, I'm forgetting the triggers part of this video. Like, what's wrong with me? So, a huge team of cops go and try to arrest, they try to arrest the three. First arrest was Reggie. They found Lenitra after they found Reggie at a traffic stop. And third, they found Stacey at her medical practice. Someone in the medical practice tips Stacey that the cops are there in the building looking for her, and they told her to run. Run, sis, run. The cops are here for you, like, you need to get out of The cops are here for you, like, you need to get out of here. So, she runs. See what I did there? She runs, and she locks herself in a room that could only be opened with card access, and the cops eventually break in and arrest her. Why are y'all so loud? So now that they arrested all three of the suspects, they're being questioned. And Lenitra decides to play innocent and, pretend that she was just a bystander in Richard's murder. Reggie denies everything, but for the most part, the cops think the two did this for money. But then, why did Stacey want her husband dead? So here is what Stacey tells the cops as to why she paid these two